What's up guys, David here, and Apple just took the wraps off of the new iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. And man, I've got to tell you, it's a pretty impressive update to what was already a great phone. There's now a bunch of new features that I've been wanting to see on an iPhone for quite some time, which has got me more excited about this year's iPhone than I was about the last. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and take a look at the top 10 best new features on Apple's latest flagship. Top new feature number 1, refreshed design. I know, we're supposed to be talking about new features here, and the first thing I hit you with is design, which at first glance, the iPhone 7's design looks a heck of a lot like the iPhone 6 and 6S's. But there are a few reasons why I've included design in this list. For one, there are 2 new color options in addition to the silver, gold, and pink. The first new color is called Jet Black, which adds a glossy finish to the iPhone 7 that makes it look like the aluminum body blends almost seamlessly over to the front glass. The second option is called just black, and it has a matte black finish with a smoked out Apple logo. Now, if you're looking for an iPhone 7 that looks obviously different from the 6 and 6S, you're gonna want to go with one of the 2 new black options. But be warned, the fancy new jet black color option will cost you more, as it'll only be available on the higher storage models. Jet black will also be more susceptible to micro abrasions, so much so that Apple actually recommends you to get a case. Add to that the fact that the high gloss finish will be a fingerprint magnet, and all of a sudden the regular matte black color option looks like the obvious choice, at least for me. Let me know what you guys are leaning towards down below in the comments. Good news for all the new color options is the antenna lines are now more subtle, with them only appearing along the top and bottom edges instead of across the back. And on the new black color options, the antenna lines are blacked out, so they're even less noticeable. And then finally, the aluminum on the back now curves over the camera hump instead of it just being flat with a protruding lens, which is not the biggest change in the world, but it is a nice little touch. 2. New home button. The physical home button that has been on the iPhone since day one is no more, with Apple redesigning the new home button on the iPhone 7 to be a new solid state button that technically works the same as it did on the iPhone 6S, with the only difference being it doesn't physically click in. Instead, when you press down on it, you get taptic feedback with the help of the iPhone 7's new Taptic engine, which is now more responsive with a wider range of frequencies. The button's click sensitivity can actually be adjusted in the settings, which is the first of what Apple says are many more customizations to come. Now, I know I'll miss the physical button, and it will take some time to get used to this solid state button that only tricks you into thinking it's clicking in when you press it, but ultimately I think the new button was the right move for Apple to make, as in theory it should be more durable since there are no moving parts. Those of you who've had an iPhone button that's gotten stuck or broken know why this matters, and the new button probably helped make the next feature possible. 3. Water and dust resistance. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus are now IP67 water and dust resistant, with Apple sealing the phone internally and even using adhesives to help the phone survive the accidental spill. Now, some of you may be wondering what the difference is between the iPhone 7's IP67 rating and the Galaxy S7's IP68 rating. Well, while IP ratings can vary from device to device, it looks like the major difference is the iPhone 7 can survive being in up to 1 meter of water for 30 minutes, while the Galaxy S7 can survive in up to 1.5 meters for the same amount of time. So yeah, the Galaxy S7 is technically more water resistant, but honestly, when it comes to accidentally dropping it in the toilet or even taking it with you in the shower, it should probably be fine either way. It is worth noting that liquid damage won't be covered by Apple's warranty, so don't go out swimming with it if you don't have to. 4. Improved display. No, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus don't have higher resolutions. You still have the same 1334 by 750 resolution on the iPhone 7 and the same 1920 by 1080 resolution on the iPhone 7 Plus. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the display themselves haven't been improved. In fact, the iPhone 7's display is now 25% brighter, with a typical maximum brightness of 625 nits compared to 500 nits on the iPhone 6S. This should make it a lot easier to see when outdoors in indirect sunlight. The new display also has a wider color gamut, which Apple says is able to deliver cinema standard colors with the best color management in the industry. Those are Apple's words, not mine, and if I had to bet, I'd say that Samsung's display still probably have the edge, but nonetheless, the colors on the iPhone 7 should pop a bit more, which is always nice. Top new feature number 5. all new cameras. Probably the biggest new feature on the iPhone 7 is the camera on both the front and on the back. The rear camera is an all-new 12-megapixel sensor, which Apple says is 60% faster and 30% more energy efficient than the one on the iPhone 6s. It is now capable of taking wider color gamut photos, which will work nicely with the improved display, and there's a new 6-element lens with an f-stop of 1.8 compared to 2.2 on the 6s, which results in 50% more light getting in than before. The iPhone 7 also gets optical image stabilization, which previously was only available on the larger Plus models, allowing it to take exposures of up to 3 times longer than the iPhone 6s, which combined with the higher f-stop should make the photos you take in low light look a heck of a lot better. But sometimes even the best low light cameras need a little help from the flash. And on the iPhone 7, the True Tone flash is better than ever, with 4 different LEDs instead of just 2 like on the iPhone 6s that combine to be 50% brighter. There is also a flick sensor that detects the flicker that artificial light sometimes produces and has the camera automatically compensate for it. Now, those are a lot of improvements right there, but the 7 Plus's camera takes things to the next level. Instead of one 12-megapixel camera on the back, there are now 2 12-megapixel cameras. One of them is used for your regular wide photos with an f1.8 28mm lens, while the other is a telephoto f2.8 56mm lens, which effectively allows you to do a 2x optical zoom that can be increased digitally up to 10x. Switching between the 1x and 2x camera is as simple as pressing the button right above the shutter, letting you zoom into 2x without losing any image quality or adding the noise that typically comes with digital zoom. This dual lens setup also comes with the ability to do depth of field effects, so you can get a nice blurry background while taking a picture of someone, though this feature won't be available at launch and it'll come out sometime later this year. Overall, the iPhone 7 Plus's camera is a huge improvement and takes the smartphone camera one step closer to acting like a DSLR camera with things like optical zoom and shallow depth of field. Will it replace your DSLR? No, but it is one step closer to doing so, which is amazing on a smartphone. Now, the rear cameras aren't the only cameras to be improved. Because we live in a world where the front-facing camera is probably used more so than the rear camera, Apple has improved it as well, with the front camera being bumped up to 7 megapixels compared to just 5 on the iPhone 6s. This should translate into clearer, crisper selfies, which may or may not be a good thing. 6. LTE Advanced. The iPhone continues this trend of being one of the most global-ready smartphones out there, with the iPhone 7 supporting up to 25 LTE bands. It also supports LTE Advanced, which can handle data speeds of up to 450 megabytes per second, which is 50% faster than what was available on the 6s and 3 times faster than on the iPhone 6. 7. More storage. So one of my favorite new features is the fact that Apple has finally decided to ditch the 16GB base model on the new iPhones, which in this day and age of high-resolution photos and videos just doesn't cut it anymore. The iPhone 7 now starts at 32GB at the $649 price points, with the $750 model skipping 64GB and jumping all the way up to 128. And then for you heavy storage users, there is now a whopping 256GB model available, which will set you back $850. 8. Better performance. Okay, so the iPhone 6s is the fastest phone we've ever tested in our phone booth style speed tests, with it still being undefeated after beating the new Note 7 despite being a year old. And from the looks of it, the iPhone 7 is going to be even faster. The new quad-core A10 Fusion chip finally brings a quad-core processor to the iPhone, with 2 of the cores being high-performance cores that results in a CPU that is 40% faster than the one on the iPhone 6s, and a 6-core GPU that is 50% more powerful than what the A9 was packing. All of this extra horsepower can lead to apps and games that were simply not possible before, specifically with the games, with some new titles launching alongside the iPhone 7 that supposedly bring near console quality graphics to your pocket. Now, I'm super excited about the A10 Fusion, and it's about time that the iPhone jumped onto the quad-core bandwagon, so I can't wait to see what happens in a phone booth style speed test. Thumbs up if you're with me. 9. Better battery life. With a faster chip, the new Taptic engine, and the improved display, you may be wondering what that means for battery life. Well, Apple says that the iPhone 7 is going to, on average, last you 2 hours longer than the iPhone 6s. The iPhone 7 Plus, on the other hand, is supposedly going to last you 1 hour longer than the iPhone 6s Plus, which was already a beast to begin with battery. This extra battery life is thanks partly to the A10 Fusion chip, which again is a quad-core with 2 high-performance cores that we just talked about, and 2 low-performance cores that'll only be used for tasks that don't require a bunch of processing power, like checking your emails, for example, in the background. Now, this isn't anything new. We've seen quad-core chips work like this on Android for quite some time, but it's nice to see that Apple is finally implementing it into the iPhone. 10. Stereo speakers. The iPhone 6s's speaker is actually not that bad compared to phones like the Galaxy S7, but thankfully, Apple didn't just settle for the status quo. The iPhone 7 now has dual stereo speakers, with one of the speakers being at the bottom right where it was on the iPhone 6s, and the other new speaker being at the top by the earpiece. This is a similar setup to what we saw on the HTC 10. So while I'm not sure how it'll perform just yet, Apple does says that it is 2 times louder and offers increased dynamic range. So while I want to take their word for it, I'm not necessarily going to believe it just yet until we test it, but stay tuned. Alright, so there you have it. Those are the top 10 best new features on the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. The new phones will become available starting September 16th, with the iPhone 7 coming in at the same price point as the iPhone 6s at $650, while the iPhone 7 Plus actually gets $20 more expensive starting at $770. Anyways, that is it for me in this video. We have a bunch of iPhone 7 coverage coming up soon, so make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the very next episode.